Namaste. So I'm going to read Book 6, Chapter 25. On the cause of Maha of Vyasa Deva, ask before Narada. Om Bhagavatam Maha Surya Koti Ekadantai Om Guru Brahma Guru Vishnu Om Ya Devi Sarvabhute Shu Vidyarabhinda Samshrana Mastasya Vidyavardhani Maha. Hari Om. Vyasa said, O king, the mother became astonished to hear me, becoming very anxious for a son. She began to speak to me. O child, the wife of your brother, the daughter Ambalika of Kasiraj, is a widow. She is very sorrowful. She is endowed with all auspicious signs and endowed with all good qualities. Better cohabit with that beautiful young wife and get a child according to the tradition of the Sastras. Persons born blind are not entitled to kingdoms. Therefore, take my word and procreate a beautiful son, and thus keep my honor. O Muni, hearing the mother's words, I began to wait in Hastinapura till Ambalika, the daughter of Kasiraja, finished her ablutions after menstruation. That king's daughter of curling hairs came to me alone at her mother-in-law's order, and became very much abashed. Seeing me, an ascetic, with matted hairs on my head, and void of every love sentiment, perspiration came on her face, her body turned pale, and her mind void of any love towards me. When I saw that lady trembling and pale beside me, I angrily spoke, O one of beautiful waist, when you have turned out pale, considering your own beauty, let your son be of a pale color. Thus saying, I spent there that night with Ambalika. After enjoying her, I took farewell from my mother and went to my place. In due course, the two daughters of the king gave birth to two sons respectively, one blind and the other pale. The son of Ambika was named Dhritarashtra, and the son of Ambalika was named Pandu, and his color was Pandu, pale. Mother became absent-minded when she saw the two sons of those states. After 1 year, she again called me and said, O Dvaipanayana, these two persons are not so fit to become kings. Therefore, beget one more son, beautiful and according to my liking. When I consented, she became very glad, and in due course asked Ambika to embrace me and give birth to a son, endowed with extraordinary qualities and fit to preserve the line worthy of the Kuru dynasty. The bride did not then say anything on account of her bashfulness. But when I went in the night time according to my mother's orders to the sleeping room, Ambika sent to me a maidservant of Vichitravirya, full of youth and beauty, and adorned with various ornaments and clothing. That maidservant of beautiful hairs and of a swan-like gait, adorned with garlands and red sandal paste, came to me with many enchanting gestures, and making me take my seat on the cot, became herself merged in love sentiments. O Muni, I became pleased with her gestures and amorous sports, and passed the night full of love towards her, and played and cohabited with her. At last I gladly gave her the boon. O fortunate one, your child, begotten by me, will be endowed with all good qualities, will be of good form, will be conversant with all the essence of dharma, calm and quiet and truthful. In due course, a child named Vidura was born to her. Thus I had 3 sons, and in my mind grew up Maya and affection that these were my sons. When I saw again those 3 sons, heroic and full of manliness, the only cause of my sorrow, due to the bereavement of my son Sukha, vanished away from my mind. O Lord of Dvijas, Maya is very powerful and extremely hard to be abandoned by those who are not masters of their senses. She enchants even the wise, though she does not possess any form, nor any substratum, nor any support. I could not find any peace even in the forest, as my mind was attached to my mother and children. O Muni, my mind then began to oscillate like a pendulum, and I remained some time in Hastinapura and some time on the banks of the Saraswati. I could not stay in a certain fixed place. By discrimination, the knowledge sometimes flashed in my mind. Whose sons are these? The attachment is nothing but merely a delusion. On my death, they would not be entitled to perform my Shraddha ceremony. These sons are begotten by ways and manners not sanctioned by Dharma. What happiness can they bring to me? O Muni, the powerful Maya has caused this delusion in me. What? Knowing this samsara to be unreal, alas, I have fallen into this well of the darkness of delusion. Thus I have repented when I thought over the matter deeply, and when I was alone in a solitary place, when subsequently, through the mediation, through the mediation of Bhishma, the powerful Pandu got the kingdom, I became pleased to see the prosperity of my son. O Muni, this is also the creation of Maya, the daughter of the king Surasena, named Kunti, and the daughter of the king of Madra, named Madri, became the two beautiful wives of Pandu. Pandu was cursed by a Brahmana that he would die if he cohabited with any woman. He therefore became dispassionate and, quitting his kingdom, went to the forest with his two wives. Hearing Pandu gone to the forest, I felt pain and went to my son, who was staying with his wives, and consoling him, came to Hastinapura, where I held a conversation with Dhritarashtra and then came back to the banks of the river Saraswati. Pandu in his forest life gave 5 sons out of his wives by the Devas Dharma, Vayu, Indra, and the twin Ashvins. Dharma, Vayu, and Indra begat respectively of Kunti the 3 sons, Yudhishthira, Bhimasena, and Arjuna. And the 2 Ashvins begat of Madri the 2 sons, Nakula and Sahadeva. Once Madri, full of youth and beauty, was staying alone in a solitary place, and Pandu, seeing her, embraced her, and due to the curse died. When the funeral pyre was ablaze, the chaste Madri entered into the fire and died a sati. Kunti was prevented from doing so, as she was to nurse and look after her young children. The Munis then took the sorrowful Kunti, the daughter of Surasena, bereft of her husband, to Hastinapur, and handed her over to the high-souled Bhishma and Vidura. When I came to hear this, my mind was greatly agitated to see the pain and pleasure that other people suffered. Bhishma, Vidura, and Dhritarashtra began to nourish and support Yudhishthira and others as they considered them the sons of their dearest Pandu. The cruel and wicked sons of Dhritarashtra, Duryodhana, and others united with each other and began to quarrel horribly with the sons of Pandu. Dronacharya came there accidentally, and Bhishma treated him with great respect and requested him to stay in Hastinapura, and educated the sons of Kuru. Karna was the son of Kunti when she was young and unmarried, and he was quitted by her no sooner he was born. The charioteer Sutta, or carpenter, Adhirata, found him in a river and nourished him. Karna was the foremost of the heroes, and therefore the great favorite of Duryodhana. The enmity between Bhima and Duryodhana, etc., began to grow greater day by day. Dhritarashtra, thinking the difficult situation of his children, fixed the residence of the sons of Pandu at the Varanavata city, so that the quarrels might die away. Out of enmity, Duryodhana ordered his dear friend Purochana to build their house of lac for the Pandavas. O Muni, when I heard that Kunti and her 5 sons were burnt in the lac house, I became merged in the ocean of sorrows, and I thought that they were my grandsons. I was overwhelmed with sorrow and began to search after them in deep forests day and night, till at last I found them in Ekachakra city, lean and thin and very much distressed with sorrow. I became very glad to see them and sent them soon to the city of the king Draupada. Wearing the deer skin, they went there dejected with sorrow in the Brahmin's dress and stayed in the royal court. The victorious Arjuna shewed prowess and pierced the mark, the eye of the fish, and obtained Krishna, the daughter of the king Draupada. By the order of the mother Kunti, the 5 brothers married her. I think it's supposed to say obtain Draupadi, but it says obtain Krishna, but they are related. O Muni, I became very glad to see that they were all married. The Pandavas, then accompanied by Panchali, soon went to Hastinapura. The Dhritarashtra then fixed Kandavaprastha at the residence of the Pandavas. Vishnu, the son of Vasudeva, then performed the yajna with the victorious Arjuna and satisfied the great fire. The Pandavas next performed the Rajasuya sacrifice, and that made me very glad. Seeing the affluence and prosperity of the Pandavas and the great assembly hall, beautiful and exquisitely artistic, Duryodhana was burnt up, as it were, with malice, and made arrangements for play in dice, very injurious in its consequences. Shakuni was expert in playing deceitfully, and Yudhishthira, the son of Dharma, was not expert in this play. Excuse me. So Duryodhana made Shakuni play for him and stole away all that Yudhishthira had and insulted. At last, in the royal assembly, the daughter of Draupadi, Yajasini, and Yajnasini, and gave her much trouble. The Pandavas then went with Panchali in an exile in the forest for 12 years, and I was very much grieved to hear this. O Muni, though I know all about the Sanatana Dharma, yet I was deluded and merged in these worlds of pains and pleasures. Who am I? To whom do these sons belong? My mind roams day and night on the thoughts of all these. O Muni, what shall I do? And whither shall I go? I don't find happiness anywhere. My mind is, as it were, floating in a rocking machine, and it has never been fixed. O best of Munis, you are all-knowing. Solve my doubts, so that my mental fever may be quietened, and I may be happy. Here ends the 25th chapter on the cause of Maha of Vyasadeva asked before Narada in Srimad Devi Bhagavatam of 18,000 verses by Maharishi Ved Vyasa. Om Jayanti Mangala Kali Bhadra Kali Kapali Draga Kashma Shiva Swaswa Om Tuyamata Chapitatu Bandusha Chasakatu Vinam